Woodglue here, and this is another weekend for Goblin and I to hit the trail. We got out to the trailhead at just after 7 o'clock last night, something like that, after we put cars down on both ends, and we are up in the Warner Springs area. We started at PCT mile 77, and last night we hiked into a campground at 81.6, I think it was, and there's a little wash with a whole bunch of campsites in it, and that's where we settled down. We got to camp about 9 o'clock and then got to bed about 10 o'clock and had a good night's sleep. Some coyotes yipping in the background like we're seeing on just about every hike now. And the night got really cold. I want to guess somewhere down in the low 40s, but we were all right. And then we ended up taking a slow morning and sleeping in a bit. We've only got 13 miles today, so we took advantage of that and rolled out of bed pretty slow this morning. We are just leaving our camp and headed onward and upward. Had a good hike so far, and many more adventures ahead. So this is the small campsite at 82.4. This is noted on the PCT half mile maps, and it's definitely good enough for two tents. You know, we have a big tent and a small tent, and I think we could even fit in here. So definitely a good option. The small tent can go over here. Pretty cool place here. We're off of PCT mile 83 and a half, something like that, and just east of the trail, probably 100 feet, you walk up into these boulder areas, and you can look over the ridge and see that. But then right here is a neat little tent site for at least one person. Probably just one tent would fit there, but really secluded behind this pile of rocks. And then not a whole lot of other tent sites around here, so You could be by yourself back here. We're at mile 191, and that's the trail. But here's water cache. Water cache is supposed to be down the trail. Not sure what this is.
Logbook.
Cool. We'll sign it on our way out. That is the famous water sign that's on the PCT waterlog page on the interweb. Somewhere down here is a water cache, 3/10 of a mile. And then if there's no water at the water cache, there's a cistern that's another 3/10 of a mile down. So we're glad because we are pretty close to being out of water right now. We're probably 13 miles, 15 miles into our hike so far, and that's all the water we had. So you put your empty bottles in here, and you just pick that up and recycle it. Bottle caps go in there. Look at this. Pallets and pallets of water. Very cool. Very, very cool. So we filled up all of our bladders and stuff. Water bottles and whatever. 3 liters max, which is plenty to get to the next place. Check this out. A little bit of foot repair. And you open up this tin, and there's a foot repair kit and all kinds of tapes and bandages and hand sanitizer and scissors. Squares. Second skin squares. Scissors and tweezers and ink pen and pretty awesome cache here. This is really cool of these guys to put this out here for us. So we're at the water cache and Crystal pulls off her shoe and finds a nice blister. So what do? Pop it.
Fix it.
We're like 13 miles into our hike here. That's pretty quick to get a blister. And has all probability of completely ruining our whole hike.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
Take care of that thing, man.
All right.
So how's this for amazing?
Go.
We are really high up. Our lunch today was down on the valley floor, way down there. And we have climbed and climbed and climbed all afternoon. San Felipe Road, S2, Highway S2. It's right there. Way up there. This is pretty awesome. With the sun setting, we're at mile 94.4, and that's the PCT right there, and we settled down for our camp tonight. This big open area on top of a huge ridge. We got our tents all set up, and it's about dinner time. But you gotta check out this ridge that we're on top of. It's absolutely amazing. We're at 4,200 foot elevation, so it's going to be pretty chilly tonight. But look at that. tents are right there. Very, very cool.
I want to see what happens when you fall in there.
That's cool. It's like somebody dug it out for a mine or something.
Yeah, but it goes that way, so there could be critters living under those. Oh my gosh, there's like a shelf in there.
Yeah.
See that?
That's cool. We're at a camp outside of Warner Springs, and it's 6:20 or so, and we both came flying all day because it was so dang cold. I mean, probably somewhere under 40 degrees, and we're learning that's too cold for our gear. So, eventful morning already. Condensation and just freezing cold. There's ice on your tent, Crystal. I'm serious.
I told you it froze last night.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's froze. freezing out here. Freezing.
Wow. So on second thought, I think it got below 32 because right now it's 7 o'clock and there's ice all over the outside of both of our tents. At 7 a.m. So it had to get well under 30 last night.
We took the alternate for Warner Springs off of the PCT. It's a 2-mile alternate, and this goes around the school. First thing you do is climb up a big hill. This is what you peel off of the PCT right before you get to the Highway 79 for the first time. So you're on that, and you have to walk stuff like this, which is pretty nuts. But anyway, you go up around the Warner Springs School, and you get up there, and you end up finding out that you're gonna drop back down off the hill into Warner Springs. So you walk Highway 79 for a lot of the ways, and then after Warner Springs, so you're walking Highway 79 into Warner Springs, and then you're doing it again walking out of Warner Springs. And right here we're at the connection point where PCT continues up this creek bed, I guess. But all in all, if you have to go to Warner Springs, maybe a good way to go. If you don't have to go to Warner Springs, I would stay on the PCT and go around. So today's Monday, but I still haven't told you guys about Sunday. We left our camp at mile 94, and we got out of there at probably 8:30 in the morning. And really cool camp location that was up on a ridge, kind of a bluff, and we were camped at 4,200 feet with the most amazing view, looking down out of there, looking down into the San Felipe Valley, and really cool. We got out of camp at 8:30 in the morning and hit the trail, and our goal was to get up to Barrel Spring, which was mile 101. So we had 7 miles to go to get to water, and it was a good thing because we were in need of water. And the spring had a big cement spring box with a faucet, or a water pipe, galvanized water pipe, just trickling water into it. We're getting probably a liter every 2 minutes, so it's just barely running. And that whole area was kind of strange. You know, you walk into there and there's no trespassing signs. This is owned by such and such irrigation district, and there's a sign that says to boil your water for 5 minutes. And then right next to that is a big sitting area with a fire pit, and it's like, I don't know if we're supposed to be here or not. So that was pretty interesting. The one thing about that place is the water tasted pretty bad. We ran it out of there and filtered it, and we didn't boil it, but it tasted pretty yucky. It's been close to 24 hours now since we drank any of that, and we hadn't gotten sick yet, so I think we're gonna be okay. Then from there we went to mile 106 is Eagle Rock, and that was pretty cool. Goblin hadn't seen that before, so we walked up off the
the backside of it kind of, and she couldn't figure out how there was an eagle out of all those rocks until we got around to the right side. But we snapped a couple pictures, and then we headed down to the water tank that's 2/10 of a mile south of Eagle Rock. And this is an item that's listed on the water report at mile 106, I think it is, and there's no water to be had from that water tank. Even if the tank is full, or it has a it doesn't have a ladder to get up on top to the hatch, it doesn't have a faucet on the bottom or anything like that. So about 150 feet away from there is a water trough that the horses, or the farmers, ranchers' cows are using. And the water trough is full, and it's covered with algae, partially, maybe 20%. The water in it is probably pretty clear, but we got clever and found a way to get the fresh water out of the tank at the valve at the trough by pushing down on the orange balloon, and water would come out of the faucet there into the trough, so you can catch it before it lands on the trough. Pretty good water from that location. Where do we go next? Oh yeah, we got to mile 107, Canada Verde, and it's a little creek that undoubtedly this is running because of the rain that we had here about a week ago. It rained for a couple days. Strangest thing though, you could get water at roughly mile 107. I'll post the exact mileage here, but after a while the water dissipates and it's no longer in the creek. The farther downstream you go, there's no water, it's just dry. So I doubt if that water is going to be there very long. And from there we hiked into a 2-hour camp location that we had last night, and this was at mile 109. Yeah. And this is on the PCT right before you cross the highway 79 for the first time. And it was a pretty nice location, but we did have some issues. It's a nice sandy, big open area where you could get a lot of tents into there. This time of year, this is January 2017, we would not be able to stay in there again. I don't know what the forecast had for last night, but it definitely wasn't freezing. And we got into there and set up our tents, and in the middle of the night, midnight or 2 o'clock, it got really, really cold. And so we were not thinking that this was a bad spot to camp. And this morning, as we walked out of our camp, you could see that we were basically camped in a low spot, in a bowl. And lesson learned for sure. We're probably getting temperatures that are 10-15 degrees lower than the neighboring hills and ridges and stuff. So
on the weather report for Warner Springs.
Right, the weather report for Warner Springs had pretty good forecast. So kind of caught us by surprise. Anyway, we're back on the PCT now, and we are headed northbound from Highway 79. We've just gone through Warner Springs and done our visit in there. Stopped at a gas station and stopped at the gas station and got some water and got some breakfast, and now we're back on our way again. There's plenty of water around without having to buy water at the gas station. We just didn't want to take the time to filter, so we were there anyway, and we got a couple liters. So this is our final push. We have probably 40 miles or so hiked so far, and we are down to the last 8 miles here.
6 miles, something like that, to go find our car. It's gonna be a 1,300-foot climb, and it's gonna be a butt kicker, but there's water in the car and air conditioning, so we should be good to go once we get there.
I'll hold that, you do it. Oh God.
Yucky.
Super yucky.
Somebody lives here. I guess this is where you can put all your trash. Spooky, man. Weird. Yeah, it's full of trash. Yeah. This is Agua Caliente, and it's outside of Warner Springs by a couple miles, and there's lots of water flowing in it. Did I mention it was 1,300 feet up? And it's some steep up. It's only about 70 degrees today, but this could be a lot worse if it was 80, 85. It would be nice to have some wind though. More up. One thing about camping in the super cold is your water's ice cold in the middle of the hot day. One thing I saw after I was complaining about having to road walk and all that was a sign that said, "Go this way and you'll avoid the road walk." And sure enough, it shows a trail. If you're going southbound PCT, right before Highway 79, first crossing southbound, there's a sign and a trail that goes off to the left. And that trail, you can see just kind of going over the hills, so on and so on. But we tried to find that trail from the Warner Springs side, and we ran into a brand new chain link fence. So I don't know if that sign is older than the fence or vice versa, but definitely a good way to go if you can, but I'm not sure if that would connect anymore. So something that you would need to check out. So we're back down to Agua Caliente Creek again, and there's a really nice campsite here. I mean, it's right on the trail, but really nice. And then the water is flowing pretty good in the creek. There's the creek. It's a pretty good flow. Once again, this is probably from the rain that we had on Monday and Tuesday last week, but it is flowing right now, and I gotta think this thing will be going pretty good as the season goes on. It's not enough to dissipate so quickly. It'll still be flowing nicely as the thru hikers are coming through here probably. Not a moment too soon. We did our 1,300 feet this morning. And just like that, there's the car. We are there. Roughly 42 miles done. Have some pretty cool firsts, like pulling water out of a cow trough. See the Eagle Rock, and luckily we found our car.